Hello to all my friends out there. Hi, you guys. I want to do a stockpiling video tonight. I'm trying to grow a garden. This has been going on for about 2 or 3 years, and I'm finally getting somewhere. And what happened was one of the followers on Instagram told me water your plants 7 o'clock in the morning and 7 o'clock at night. And since I've done that, it's coming along. You know, I had some pretty bad looking plants, and it's very, very hot here. Every night I go, oh, I'm so hot. Well, I was killing my plants, so I spent $6. I got 2 flowers of some sort, 2 cucumbers, and 2 zucchini plants for $6, and they seem to be coming along fine, and my little garden is getting pretty big. In fact, it's getting big to the point that I better stop buying. Although I want to get some strawberry plants because I was inspired by Homestead Tessie Mobile Home Living, and you guys check it out. And I think it was yesterday she was planting strawberries, and I thought, okay, I have enough strawberries. I better move this one. I keep bumping it. I have enough strawberries now. I mean, I have enough plants, but I have room for a couple strawberry plants. So I hope everyone is doing okay, and you know, it's best to stay inside if you live in areas that are rioting and, you know, other worrisome situations. So when I was new to stockpiling, you know, I tried to do research on it, and tell you the truth, the information was scanty, and so everything I have learned I picked up pretty much myself. And so I have some black tea and some lemon juice. I'm trying to find grapefruit juice and tonic water. It's high in quinine. So now, to start out with the stockpiling, most of the time I've learned stuff is when I was trying to help someone else. And so I was trying to help this woman, and she told me she didn't have any fruit, any vegetables, or any bread because her roommate's son ate all the bread, which is understandable. He didn't have any bread either. So when you're new to stockpiling, you want to say, okay, what am I apt to run out of, or what have I run out of in the past, or what can't I afford when I start running out of stuff? So why learn everything the hard way? Say, okay, I'm apt to run out of fruit, vegetables, cans, and bread. Vegetables generally cost 1/2 the amount of money that a can of fruit. You can buy 2 cans for $1 of vegetables, but 1 can fruit. Sometimes you can find the big ones, but they're not the best quality. And at this time, having done this, I would say if you ever have to live on your stockpile, try to get the best quality food that you can, because when you don't have any money and you have low quality food, that's a bad situation. And that being said, is if you don't have enough food, start going to the food banks and the food pantries, and if you need to, go to the welfare department and get food stamps. Do whatever you need to do to get yourself some food and to start stockpiling up a little food in case we're in an unsafe environment where it's hard to go outside for whatever reason. Okay, so one of the things you can do is you can try to think about, I only want to stockpile food that I might eat anyway. If I wouldn't eat it anyway, I don't want to stockpile it. I don't want to stockpile some dehydrated food that is going to practically kill me if I'm already at risk. So, but I do want to find some food that is cheap. So starting with breakfast, a good meal would be cereal and milk, but you want to make sure that when you combine your cereal and milk, it's going to give you enough nutrition. So I discovered Corn Flakes, the big box, for $1 from Walmart. And since I discovered these, I've been discovering corn flake recipes. Because you might be thinking, what are you going to do with all those Corn flakes, you know, that's what I thought. Let's see, how many servings is this? It says 13 servings. I don't know how much people generally eat, but I have these little cereal bowls, and that is a lot more than 13. But I'll get into the recipes that I have discovered in 1 minute. And the other one that's good is oatmeal, because that is a good wholesome meal, and if you can add some nuts, that is even better still. And then another thing is I discovered a great recipe using corn flakes and oatmeal in my stockpile. Okay, so now I'm apt to run out of fruit, vegetables, and bread, and I have 2 good cereals for breakfast. Now, I want to give you the recipe. The first one is the chicken recipe with the corn flakes. This is a great recipe. Just pause your video and take a screenshot. That's the corn flake. Now I want to give you the granola. This is good. Get this recipe. I'm going to put these on my Twitter. I want to show you something after I give you enough time to take the screenshot. This is the best granola bar recipe I have found yet, and I've had quite a few. And what I did was, I found this cookbook thing when I went to Dollar Tree. If you can get one of these, there's tons of good recipes in here. So, the other thing, you know, so okay, I got cornflakes and milk. I got granola and cornflake chicken. And so, and you know, you can use your oatmeal and meatloaf as well. Okay, so now, to go with your cornflakes, I got this milk at the Senior Resource Center, but you can buy these for $1 at Dollar Tree. I got this at 99-cent store. This is powdered milk, so you have shelf-stable or powdered milk. I found out too, if you don't open these packages, they're good almost indefinitely. And those are $1. So all these items here are $1. So if you're new to stockpiling, what you would do is you would buy 1 or 2 whenever you went shopping. And believe it or not, they start, and then the third one is evaporated milk. So you have 3 kinds of milk. The evaporated milk is really good for gravy, or you can substitute it for like cream, or you can make granola out of, I mean not granola, yogurt out of any of these 3 milks. So that's going to give you a dairy. So that is breakfast stockpiling. You can have any kind of cereal you like though. You don't have to go with this one. So you could get, if you don't eat cereal in the mornings, I don't eat it in the morning, I eat it in the middle of the night myself, because I'm a night person. It's very late now. It's very late tonight. Okay, so now, if things started getting tight and you really had to live on your stockpile, if you have some tea, I buy these for $1, and they're good indefinitely, but if you can stockpile a little lemon to go in your tea. Also, there's a recipe on here for lemonade. 1 cup sugar, 1 cup lemon juice, and 2 quarts water. Also, you can put the lemon in your tonic water as well. So that would give you a beverage besides milk and water. You could get by, you know, you could get by on that. Okay, so for lunch, what I usually have is a sandwich, some cookies, and some tea. And the 2 good ones, and these is peanut butter and tuna fish. Tuna fish sandwiches with cookies and tea, that's not too bad. I found these for like 68 cents. And then if you can, stockpile a little honey. You can use honey in your sugar, and then the honey goes into the popcorn chicken. So you see how all these foods start going together, and when you start getting an extra one here and an extra one there, you can get by. Okay, so what good is the peanut butter and the tuna gonna do you if you don't have any bread? If you start, I mean, I was hysterical when there was no yeast in this town, And finally, I got a good skillet flatbread recipe. Make sure you write this one down. So you might be going, I don't have all that stuff. Well, what you're going to do is just get 1 or 2 extra ones every time you go to the store. So this is a $1 package of flour. That's going to make a lot of flatbread. And then baking powder and soda. I didn't include it because that's not in the flatbread. Sugar. These are $1 items, and you need oil. So just get 1 or 2 of those items, and you can, you know, make yourself some flatbread. If you have some salt, that's good too. So what you're going to be thinking about is, you know, how you're going to get by if money starts getting tight. And so what's going to help you more than anything is a stockpile of food, more than anything. Okay, now I want to give you the Thumbprint cookie recipe. Now the thing about this is good is you can use your jam, and that's going to give you a little fruit. See how this is everything? I use margarine when I make these. I bake them at 350. I use Mexican vanilla. So you have flour, you have eggs, we're getting to that in a minute, flour, salt, butter, sugars. There's nothing to this. This recipe does not make too many cookies though. So just, if you make half a batch, it's only going to make you 8 cookies. Okay, so now if you're really, really hungry at lunch, you can have 2 sandwiches, or you can have sandwich and some soup. So for the stockpile, and I was horrified when this happened, there was no top ramen. One time I saw this guy and the entire cart was full of top ramen, and I said, what are you going to do with that? And he said, well, I'm going to donate it to the homeless. But if you stockpile this stuff and you cook your top ramen, you get 1 egg and 1 tablespoon of water, and you beat it until it's frothy. And then when the top ramen is done and is boiling, add the egg and stir it and put some chives. If you have soy sauce, or if you have Mexican hot sauce and lime, it's going to give you a really good soup. And then if you stockpile some meat type stuff like the tuna, like the turkey, like the lunch meat, you can get by. You can eat that at dinner too. And another thing is, if you stockpile 60 eggs at the beginning of the month and you start running low on meat, then you're going to have your eggs. And if you stockpile cheese, then you're going to have some cheese. And another thing that is good, and it doesn't sound good, but it is good, is top ramen with a little pile of cheese and a little piece of margarine, salt and pepper. And you can get by on that. So soup and sandwiches for lunch. Okay, now for dinner, meat. And I stocked my freezer. When I first heard about, oh, there's going to be maybe a meat shortage, I go, what? I stocked my freezer full of chicken, hamburger patties, so I could control the portion and make sure that I had at least 1 patty per day, and they came up to about 50 cents each because I bought them with soy, and then bacon ends. I bought a whole bunch of bacon ends because you can eat your eggs with bacon, and your bacon is going to come in handy. Okay, so meat, and then I buy potatoes. This is a $1 bag of potatoes, but I would suggest 10 pounds of potatoes at all times. You're not going to starve out. But this is also a $1 portion of potatoes. I bought it at Walmart. And this is going to give you quite a bit of potatoes. You need milk and butter for these. But if you start stockpiling powdered milk or evaporated milk in cans, you're not going to be running out of milk. Potatoes, rice. I just happen to find this marked down. Once you start getting the hang of this, you're probably not going to be running out of food. Beans, I bought these beans marked down. Rice and beans and potatoes. That's your carb. Also, you can make stir fry with your rice. You just fry a little Spam or your bacon ends, cooked rice, some kind of vegetables, move them over to one side, scramble some eggs, and mix it all together, and then salt, pepper, and sugar, and there's a good stir fry for you. And then sweet potatoes. Best way to store those are in cans. And sweet potatoes are not cheap canned. They're like $1.18 at Walmart. But what's good about these is you could make a sweet potato pie. So that'd be your carbs. So you're not going to be, without your bread and your potatoes and your rice and your beans, you're really going to be starving. So the whole thing is don't go there. Don't even think about going there. Well, the best way is when you learn the stockpiling. It's not going to happen. I'm not saying spend your whole stimulus check. That's stupid. Then, I mean, you know, if you don't have a job, you're just trying to survive right now. Okay, so now vegetables. Okay, now there's, of all the vegetables, I'd say tomatoes. This is the best way to go because you can grind them and make them into tomato paste or tomato sauce or spaghetti, or even like you can grind them and make the salad that I always make, which is lettuce, a little spoonful of the ground tomatoes in the blender. I think this one comes, one of them comes in tomato juice. That's the one you want to get because then you have tomato juice as well and you can drink that. But I bought this one for $1. And then there's the other one I like always is stewed tomatoes. But if you're going to start out stockpiling, try to think maybe tomatoes or else salsa. What I do is, I bought this one 50% off. What I do is I grind them in my blender, and then you can use them on tacos or a little pile on your hamburgers or salad. Your tomatoes, also I have a good recipe for tomatoes. Salt, pepper, and sugar, and macaroni. With a hamburger and maybe some green beans, you can get by on that. So if you're gonna go for like 2 cans, you know, think about, well, what 2 cans in my stockpile would serve me best? Well, probably the big can of tomatoes so you're not running out. And the other one is green beans, and I bought this one dented can. And I started following this woman, Mornings with Granny. And if you have your green beans, you can also have green beans with bacon and make yourself some cornbread with salt and pepper, and you can survive on your green beans. And then you have your rice, your beans, or potatoes. So I would start out probably with green beans and tomatoes. If you stockpile cream corn and potatoes, that's going to let you make corn chowder. Here's my recipe. Take a screenshot. If hard times come, I want my followers prepared. Here's the potato soup. You know, I said potato salad, but Mornings with Granny had a good potato soup too. So if you stockpile potatoes and cream of corn soup, you have soup. And then if you have stuff for a sandwich, you can do that. The other good one is if you get mixed vegetables, then you have all different kinds of vegetables. And you know what is crazy? Now the mixed vegetables are more expensive. So if you're new to stockpiling, say, okay, which vegetable would be the most beneficial for me to have? I would probably go myself with tomatoes and green beans. I grind the salsa in the blender and the stewed tomatoes, and it's so much more pleasant to eat. Okay, so now for fruit. Okay, today I bought 2 things. I bought apricots because they had them for $1, and these don't expire until 2022. So when I buy things full price, I want the longest expiration date I can find. And what's good with these is you can make an apricot pie just like a peach pie, or fruit and cottage cheese, fruit and yogurt, thumbprint cookies with your fruit, and jam. You just cover, I drain my fruit. I like apricots because it makes your jam kind of sour. You can add sugar. So cover your fruit with water, drain, cover with water, between 1/4 and 1/3 cup sugar, cook it down, and then add a little lemon juice, and then you can either eat it in a little bowl or you can make jam. And then the other thing is grape stuff, and if you have jam, you can eat that on your bread. And the flat bread is really delicious, you know, just like bread. And once you get used to doing it, if you have a grill, it's not going to be that greasy. So dinner is meat, potatoes, rice, beans, or sweet potatoes, and then figure out, well, in my stockpile, do I want a big 10-pound bag of potatoes, or would the small $1 be better? Rice, beans. I've told all my followers, but I have a whole bunch of new followers. There was a woman, and she was a polygamist. Well, she wasn't a woman, she was a girl. And she went down to Mexico. She was a polygamist, and there was no work, and they were all suffering horrible hardship. She is my age, and don't think it couldn't happen again, and don't think it couldn't happen to you. So her husband came back to the U.S. to work, and she stayed down in Mexico with her little daughter. And one day an old man came up to her and said, "Ma'am, your daughter is starving." And he gave her a bag of beans, a bag of rice, and some vegetables, and told her to plant a garden, and she did, and they survived. And if she hadn't, they probably would have starved. And it doesn't take that long to starve. That's why you want to do the stockpile. Another bad time for going without food was World War II. And the people were so desperate for oil, the followers told me that they even tried to eat motor oil. So you want to stockpile oil. And I stockpile these little ones. If someone needs to borrow some oil, you can give them a small one. Actually, this is quite a bit of oil. Also, I save all my bacon fat now. Okay, so now imagine there's no meat, there's not going to be any bacon fat. Lard used to be cheap. You can't even find it out here now. Okay, so you have your vegetables, your rice, your beans, your sweet potatoes, and vegetables. Bread, you can make your flat bread if you don't have any yeast. And butter. I use margarine. I pack it in my freezer. And then milk, and try to get powdered milk. So if you're new, you're just buying 1 or 2 items. And yesterday I gave the example, you don't just wake up in a horrible situation. In almost every case, it's coming on. So instead of, being very optimistic, say, well, between the Spanish flu and the Depression was 10 years. My son told me that. He goes, "No, Mom, it was 10 years. So we have some time to prepare. And there's a story in the Bible about the wise virgins and the foolish virgins. And the foolish virgins came to the wise virgins and said, "Give us some oil." And they said no. And I always thought they were heartless. But there's plenty of time to prepare. I would consider carefully before saying no, because if you're in a position where you have to rely on God, it's no time to be selfish. I'd say even giving a little is better than nothing. Okay, so then milk. Okay, so then for dessert, if you stockpile cake mixes, then you can make a dump cake. If you one of the followers told me to stockpile. The comments are great. She said make a dump cake out of your pie filling, and so I started stockpiling pie filling. But you can make pie filling out of your fruit. Just make the cooked fruit, and then make your dump cake, or you can make cake, or you can make cookies. But you need the easy cookie recipe. So if you're new to me, welcome. If you came from Homestead Tessie Mobile Home Living, I'm very happy to have you. I can't compete with her, but you know, I do the best to convey my message such that it is. Okay, so that's it for the stockpile. I find if it's too involved, it's not helpful anyway. So all this jewelry I have on is my resale. If you can find a way to resell, I bought this blouse when Sears was going out, and I got it really cheap for $8, and I've had it at least 2 years. And what I do is I wear my stuff and then I sell it at the swap meet. So I'll probably wear this for 2 more years. So, you know, it's costing me $2 a year, and then I'll sell it at the swap meet. But lately the swap meet has been closed. So what I'm doing now is I'm trying to sell my jewelry, and I have, you know, I have swap meet jewelry. I have it on. And so I'm trying to sell it on eBay. No idea what I'm doing, but I'm learning as I'm going along. And so here's 2 of the necklaces that I'm selling. These are nice and very reasonably priced. But when I first started, if you guys want to try that, maybe you have some old costume jewelry around the house. I listed it as costume jewelry. No. Fashion jewelry. And don't put, I did this stupid too, gold tone. That is obvious. It's fashion jewelry, and then just, you know, the price. And then I usually put estate jewelry, or used or pre-owned. And it's going pretty well considering that I just started. I have a lot of jewelry because when I retired, my idea was to sell the jewelry at the swap meet. But then when I started on eBay, I thought, well, you know, you're there anyway. I do the auction, the 6-day auction, and you get, I think I get 50 free posts per month. And here is some of my costume jewelry. I don't go too cheap because it's too hard to get stuff right now because of the COVID. And then, you know, I have various necklaces and rings. There are people that are self-employed that make 6 figures on resale. It can be anything. I have home decor, I have clothes, shoes, purses. If you know anything about electronics and computers, you know. And then there's also Craigslist and all kinds of things like that. So put it in the back of your mind, how could I create my own self-employment? And then if you make a little extra money, or if you somehow get a little extra money, buy a little bit of stockpile, and that's like saving in the future because you don't have to buy groceries, and that saves you money. So I have been stockpiling all year, and I can go for quite a while without buying any food. So what I'm doing is I'm starting over, just as if I have never had any food in the house. And today, this is what I bought. And then I bought 2 boxes of the organic black tea. That's what I bought today. Okay, you guys, please like, comment, and subscribe, and God bless you all.